various output functions, how to handle different types of output functions, right? Okay, next, after understanding few important output properties and methods, we learnt about how to deal with the output properties and methods. So the basic output properties and methods we learned about how to use an alert, how to use confirm, what is the difference between alert and confirm, and we learned about how do we deal with inner text and inner HTML, inner text and inner HTML. So how to deal with inner HTML and inner text, right? Now we have few more options here to handle, right? What are those options to handle? So how to deal with how do we deal with outer HTML and console options? So outer HTML and console related options, console log, console info, console debug, and console error. Some options are present. How to deal with them? How do we deal with them? So difference between alert, confirm, inner text, inner HTML, I given an overview to you. I given one example also to you. So this is the example where we learned about inner HTML and others, right? Next, outer HTML. Actually, outer HTML is not regularly used, but at certain occasions we use outer HTML. The main purpose of outer HTML is outer HTML. Actually, the purpose of outer HTML, technically, outer HTML it allows to change or append. You can simply say that change complete element dynamically using including start and end tags. It allows to change complete element dynamically, including start and end tag. That means it generates output. It generates output that can replace complete element. That is what actually concept of outer HTML. Inner HTML, inner text, they will not replace the element, only they will replace the content. They will not replace the element, they will just replace the content. Whereas outer HTML can replace the complete element. That is what actually here I'm using div id message, or instead of div I am using heading h1. I am using h1 as a message. Now usually what happens is, you can observe when we run this, open in browser and press F12 function key, debugger will open. In the debugger, go to elements category. In the elements category, you can identify here. We have the heading. We have heading 1. Inside that heading 1, there is no message. You can see there is no message inside heading 1. I click on delete. Are you sure you want to delete? I say OK. Then it adds some text between that heading 1 element. You can see a text is added with some effects inside that heading 1. So the element remains the same, only the content is added into it. If you want, you can change that content also. If you want, you can change that content. That means if user clicks delete and clicks cancel, I want to put content. So then what I can do is, action cancelled, I can keep here. So instead of showing record deleted successfully, action cancelled, I can show them. How to do that? Simply on delete also, on action cancelled also, we will use same document dot get element by id msg dot inner html is equal to action cancelled. This message we will give. Observe carefully now. What happens is, when I refresh and I click on delete and I say cancel, I say OK, then you can see the message record deleted successfully, bold. I click on cancel, then that message is modified. Just it will keep a message action cancelled. The heading element remains same. For example, suppose inside that action cancelled, I kept heading 3 and end heading 3. Already remember, MSG is heading. Which heading it is? It is heading 1. Now you are saying that inner HTML of heading 1, you are printing heading 3. Then what happens now? I will refresh here. I click on delete and OK. Now you can see when OK, it is having this bold record deleted successfully. I click on again delete and click on cancel. When I click on cancel, you can see that inside that heading 1 element, heading 3 is printed. Inside the heading 1, heading 3 is printed. But generally we want to replace that heading 1 completely with heading 3. We don't want to print inside. We want to completely replace it. So we want to replace completely. If we want to replace completely that heading 1 with heading 3, then we use an option outer HTML. Inner HTML, inner text will replace only the content inside it. It will not disturb that element. Outer HTML, I am defining outer HTML. And I am adding that, refresh here. Now you can see, so I click on delete. I say OK. That means in heading 1, it prints deleted successfully. When I click cancel, then outer HTML, you can see that outer HTML completely removed heading 1 and it replaced heading 3. That means heading 1 is completely removed and heading 3 is kept here. What is difference between previous and now? Previously, heading 1 was there. In that heading 1, heading 3 printed. Heading 3 printed. Outer HTML will completely replace it. That means it will not print inside it. It will completely replace with a new element. So you can see it is completely replaced with a new element. So inside the div, it is completely replaced with a new element. So inner HTML, inner text will print inside existing element, whereas outer HTML will print by replacing the complete element if whenever necessary. That is what actually the concept of outer HTML. That means it allows to change complete element dynamically, including the start and end tags. It generates output that can replace complete element. That is what actually outer HTML is. Example, same yesterday's example I can copy here. Only the point is outer HTML will not print heading 3 inside this heading 1. It will replace it with heading 3. So I hope everyone understood it clearly. One more time, see, if I am using inner HTML, action cancelled, then what happens when I click on delete and click on cancel, then you can see that action cancelled is displayed inside heading 1. Right side you can observe in heading 1 it is showing heading 3. No, I want to replace this heading 1 and keep heading 3. Then what we can do, we can manage that by using outer HTML. So then what is outer HTML? I click on delete and click cancel. That heading 1 is replaced with heading 3. It will not print inside it. It will completely replace with heading 3. That is what actually outer HTML is. So what is difference? Difference between inner HTML and outer HTML. Difference between inner HTML and outer HTML. So inner HTML prints the output within the existing element. So you can say that is between start and end tag. Existing element, that is between start and end tag. Right. So whereas outer HTML generally, so it prints the output so completely by replacing the existing element with the new element. That is what actually the concept of how do we handle inner HTML and outer HTML, right? So this is general important thing you need to understand. While printing the output, you want to print within or you want to completely replace it, that you can manage by using outer HTML, right? So next important in the output options, we have console methods. We have console methods. Actually, console is a tool. Console is a tool present in browser debugger. Console is a tool present in browser debugger. You can simply say that console is a tool which is present in browser debugger. What is this purpose of this console tool is you can log the messages and test your values while developing or testing application. You can log the messages and test your values while developing and testing application. Actually, console methods are not for general client purpose. Console methods are not general for client purpose. Usually console methods are for developer in order to understand how to deal with output, especially while working with the debuggers, right? How do we deal with the output? So technically, the point here is many times when we are developing or testing, we need to keep tracking of several activities and the messages we need to display. And you can manage them, but those messages doesn't matter for client. That means user need not to see those messages. You are using those messages just for your confirmation while then what I will do here, you can observe when delete click happened. So when initial delete click happened, here I will keep a simple console. So console has so many methods. Actually, console has log methods. Console have a log method. Console have a error method. Console has a debug method. Console have a warning method, right? Console provides different methods like info method. These are all console methods. Actually, every method related to console only. Every method have a different status to show. For example, anything went wrong, then error is good. If you want to show warning, then warn is good. You want to show just information, just info is good, like that. For example, see what we are doing now. Console.info, I am giving info method. Console.info, I am printing a message. So you requested. That means here you simply say that you clicked delete button. You click delete button. Okay. After that, if the condition is true, X is true. Yesterday I explained this logic. If it is true, in confirm you selected yes. Then console dot I will define warning, saying that record will be deleted. So why record will be deleted? Because you selected yes. You selected yes. That message I'm writing. You selected yes. So record will be deleted. That's the warning. After deleting, I will put console.error saying that record deleted successfully, record deleted successfully. That is displayed in error style. And in the else, what I am doing here is, if they cancelled, I will just put console.info. Already we written info. We have console debug. I will put that you suppose I say record deletion cancelled. You clicked cancel this message. Cancel this message should display. And I'm using different type of methods of console. We have a console info, we have a console warn, console error, console debug. These are all options we are defining. Now observe carefully. I will open this page, refresh. Okay, you see, along with elements there is a console in the debugger. Click on that console. This console actually will keep tracking of the activities, and even it can show the messages according to the situation, which we already decided what messages to show and when to show. Currently it is empty. Actually, developers, what they can do is they can try their functions and everything directly here. For example, see, I am trying alert. I can directly try my JavaScript here, alert hi, and hit enter. Then it will show that hi. You don't need to write a script file. You don't need to design a HTML file. You can directly try out your activities here. That means formulas, functions, methods, anything you can try out here. This console allows the developer to write everything and manage them. So it will do everything. For example, x is equal to 10. So then y is equal to 20. So then z is equal to x plus y. I defined like this. I'm adding some values and formulas and all. And here you see it will print 30. So I'm not even choosing for printing z. Suppose I want to print alert z value, and it will print z value as 30. It will show. So that's how it allows you to manage all the activities. Right? So here we are managing all the activities. Now let's refresh this here. So that is not a command prompt to actually clear, right? Okay. Now when I refresh this, you click on delete button. Those are all our own functions actually. Now I click on delete. When I click on delete, you can see first a message triggers. Okay, I will click OK. When I click OK, the complete action finished. You can see here now in the console, you click delete button. It is an info. Record will be deleted. You selected yes. See, it shows a warning style. Record deleted successfully. That means it will show an red style. That means error style. These are important for a developer to handle, because they are not going to display anywhere inside the page. This is for developers. And you can see right side corner, you can observe that it is showing. So error is 1, warning is 1, like that. That means it will keep tracking and displaying. Info is just the info option we have defined. We can use various methods for displaying. I click on delete and I click on cancel. That means you see again you clicked delete button, and the cancel button click after the cancel is finished. The debug, it is just for using in a debug mode. So that means debug is will not suit here, so that you will learn while dealing with testing, right? Here you can keep an option like you can also give that warn. Then I click on cancel, and you can see record deleted, cancel. You click cancel. These are according to the situation. So how to handle them, we need to know. In various occasions, we will use them. You don't need to worry about that, how to use them, right? But you should know that this is not for client showing the messages. That means if you are trying to show any message to the client, then on the page, then this is not the right way for showing the output. The right way for showing the output will be obviously always inner HTML, inner text, alert and all. These are used for testing. These are used for developing. While testing, we want to log some messages and show to the developer that this is wrong, this is right. Because obviously client will not press F12 and see the errors. He can't even understand your general language, what you are using. That's not for them. That is only for these type of interactions. So example, how we can define. So in the same example, I kept those messages. You can try that. Now, what is difference between log, warn? Actually, they are different status codes actually. That means log is a different status code, error is a different status code. They have such icons and status messages to display. Error will display in a red mark, warning will display in yellow, warning icons. All such things we can manage by using console. So these are all the output properties and methods in JavaScript. Yesterday already we discussed about alert, confirm, inner text, inner HTML, outer HTML. Now today we discussed outer HTML and console option. So there is nothing like which one is better or best. It depends on the situation. According to the situation, you have to use them. In different occasions, you need to manage them, right? Yeah. Next, after understanding the output, how we can manage. Now, how to handle inputs in JavaScript. How to handle input in JavaScript. That means how JavaScript can handle input from user. How JavaScript can handle input from user. So how JavaScript can take input from the user. So input in JavaScript, how we can do that. Actually, JavaScript language can accept input values, input of values, can allow input of values, can allow input of values, by using two options. One is by using prompt. Another one, so by using, it will allow the values by using prompt, as well as by using form elements, form input elements. You have HTML form input elements. By using HTML form input elements, we can do that. We can handle by using HTML form input elements. So that is important option. That means the point is how you can manage that. Technically, generally, how to handle input from the user. That means we learned how to show output. Now how we can get input? That means user will enter some value, and JavaScript should able to So access the value. So it must able to access the value that you have entered. Actually, there are so many techniques. There are so many techniques of accepting the values input. You can use prompt, you can use HTML form elements, and you can also accept the input into JavaScript by using query string, query string, by using query string. That means you can take values. JavaScript can take values. So by using prompt, by using input elements, and by using query string. Query string is a big point that you will understand later. Initially, how we can use prompt and form input elements. Let's see. Actually, prompt is nothing but, so prompt is nothing but, it is a proper, it is a method of window object. It is a method of window object. It is a method of window object. So which will alert an input box in the browser, which will alert an input box in the browser, so that user can input value. User can input a value into page, input a value into page. So it is a method of window object which will alert an input box in the browser, so that user can input value into page. Actually, when to use this prompt is prompt. Actually, prompt is mostly used when input is not regular in page. When input is not regular in page, For example, what do you mean by that? So what do you mean by that? That means input is not regular in page. What generally you mean by that? Actually, for example, suppose, so you are using, so generally when you are dealing with form input, means generally, suppose take an example of Google Drive or some GitHub or something. So generally when you are using Drive and other elements, usually what happens is Google Drive or some other elements, when you are using them, whenever you are using those pages, so you have an option. So new folder, we have an option, new folder. We have an option, new folder. When user clicks on new folder, it should ask what should be the name of that folder, so that user will enter the name, and the user will click option called create. That means I need this screen whenever user wants to create a new folder. And if you design this screen inside the page itself, you design this screen, then the problem is creating a new folder is not everyday task. Every day we will not create a new folder. Once we create a folder, every day we will upload files into that folder. Sometimes we create a folder for different category, but it is not a regular task. And you allocated a place for that in the page. That means it is occupying screen space. So I don't want like that. I want that screen to display only when I need an input. I don't want to display ready-made a screen and keep it like that on my page, so and appear every time even when I am not using it. So that means input is not a regular concept in this point. So it is rarely used, not regularly used. In that case, instead of designing a separate screen for input, you can use a JavaScript prompt box. Actually, prompt is an input box. So how this works, I will show you. I will take a new file and prompt.html. Okay. Here I am designing a simple head section and link relation style sheet and href and node modules in bootstrap dist css bootstrap.css, right? So body, and inside the body we have a class container fluid. Okay, and here we keep a button, so we are adding a button, and and here we are defining the button. So this is input. So I will simply put as input demo, just like that, input demo. Okay, and below this I will keep a paragraph, and in the paragraph I want to just display ID. So ID as MSG. So our output I want to display inside it, and button we will put a class as BTN and BTN primary, and here I will say create new folder. Okay, let's save this. So then refresh here, and I will open that page. It is generally design is simple, normal design is like this. Now create new folder should actually have an option like what is the name of folder and create. There is no text box, nothing to enter a name inside it. Why we haven't designed like that? Because this is not regular for us. Then I don't want to waste the screen space by adding a text box, button, and all that complete screen is here. But I want input from here. Then what we can do is we can simply write here input type is button, and on click we will put an option create folder. Create folder function will be pointed. That means it is going to point towards this function. So I will go to heading in the script. In the script I am writing a function. Create folder. This function will fire up when user clicks the create button. And here I am just using a prompt, and in the prompt it is expecting a message. So folder name. So enter folder name, and this is the message. It can even have a default value also. I will tell you. It's not completed, just point. Now when I refresh it, I click on create new folder, then it will pop up an input box. This is an input box. It is just like your confirm box, but it has an input control so that user can input a value into it. Now when I enter, you can see that this input box contains. So one is the text box, another one OK, another one cancel. Now here OK cancel concept is same, but functionality is not same. Like means functionality is same, but what they written is not same like confirm box. Actually, for this prompt there are three situations. Actually, three situations will be there. What are those three situations? One situation in the prompt is so user may click. So user may click OK. User may click OK without value. Then what happens is if user may click OK, then what will happen is then it submits it submits empty, empty, that is double quotes, that is accessed by using double quotes. Empty means which is represented, that is represented by using by using by using by using double quotes. Then it submits empty, it submits empty. So here another situation is user may click OK with value. If he clicks OK with value, then it submits the value. That's okay, fine. There is another option. User may click cancel with or without value. With or without value, you click cancel, then the concept is same. What will happen is then it returns, then it submits actually it submits null, that means no value provided. OK is not no value provided, they are submitting a blank value. Blank value is treated as empty. Later in data types, I will explain what is null type, what is empty type. But here also you can simply understand. You click OK without any value. That means it is empty. That means it is having a blank value. Blank is also treated as a value. You know, ampersand NBSP, blank. So if user clicks OK with value, then it submits the value. Okay. User may click cancel without okay. So those we will collect in a variable. The values provided we will collect in a variable. So that means we will use simply like username. Username is equal to. Don't worry because we haven't learned any variable, data types, operators, anything. So just observe the concept that the value you entered in prompt is now stored in username. That means username have three options to handle. One, it is empty. Another one, the value. Another one is null. Three things are there. First, I will show you those three things. We will display this username inside this paragraph. Inside the paragraph. Then how to collect the paragraph. Document.getElement by ID. The paragraph is MSG. Dot inner HTML. It is a paragraph. Inner HTML username. We are just collecting the value present in that username, or I will simply put that message, right? So folder name. So folder created. So and plus that username. That means whatever the username user has entered from the prompt box. Observe carefully here. I will cancel. I will refresh it. Okay. So now click on create folder. Three situations. One situation, I clicked OK without entering any value. That means you can see folder created, empty message, nothing is there. An empty message is displayed here. Empty message is displayed here. Okay. Click on create new folder and you click cancel with value or without value. Without value or with value, cancel means it is cancelled. When you click cancel, you can observe it is submitting null. It is submitting null. And I clicked and entered the name ABC, some name. and click OK, it will submit that value. That means now three situations are there here. User may click OK without value. User may click OK with value. User may click cancel with or without. See, I click on cancel with value. I Okay, sorry, lost the connection just now. That's right. So let me share the screen. Okay, fine. So you can see that now here we need to handle three situations. I am writing a condition. If username is equal to empty, then I will put a message. So document dot get element by ID. We have to learn one more output function. I will tell you. For that, we have to wait a simple point here. Yeah, document dot get element by ID, and here I will display a message that is MSG. Later, you will learn about reusability and all. Don't worry about that. Inner HTML, I am displaying that you cancelled. So sorry, not cancelled. So please provide a name. So it cannot be empty. It cannot be empty. Cannot be empty. Just for your understanding sake, I'm keeping this message. Okay. Else what should happen? If username is equal to null, if username is equal to null, that means they cancelled, then document dot get element by id. So we have msg dot inner html. Later you will learn about how to reuse the code without rewriting. All those points we will learn, don't worry. So here I will define as so you cancelled. So you cancelled, this message should come, you cancelled. Else if they entered that value, then username should display, or actually that is folder name, that folder name should display. We will give this reasonable as folder name, so it will be folder name everywhere. If the folder name is defined, then we will simply put here as folder name. So folder name. Okay. Now what is the situation I am handling here? I am just explaining you three situations through logic. That means, see, I click this button without entering any name. I click OK. That means it submits empty. How you will verify empty? By double quotes, empty double quotes. And see, when I click OK, you see it says please provide a name. It cannot be empty. That's what it is showing, right? It is simply saying please provide a name, so it cannot be empty. So I click create new folder, I click cancel. When I click cancel, for that also we written a logic. The logic is you click cancel, it returns null, and we are verifying the null. And when they click cancel, then it says you cancelled. And when user enters the name as movies, that is the name, I click OK, then it will add that folder created movies. Just a simple message we are displaying. But we need to understand that it comprises of three different situations. What are those three different situations? So what are those three different situations? One is they can click OK with value. They can click OK without value. They can click cancel. Then you have to handle those three situations. This is just a syntax example to make you understand. Technically, you will learn how to use them in our projects when we are writing them, when we are designing some templates, right? Initially, prompt is used for that. In the output functions, so we learned about console log as an output function. Actually, one more important output function is used regularly, because we have to wait until document object is discussed. But still you can understand here. We can also use document.write. Document write is also an output function. What this output function will do is, so it will display the output in a new screen. That output function will display on a new screen. That I will tell you one more time when we discussed about document object. Document write is nothing but it is an output function used to display the output on a new screen. So new screen, remember, not a new page. On the same page in a new screen, it will display the output. That means you can see now. So I am defining here in this example. Suppose I want to print output. Only I want to print the output in the folder name should be printed only when folder name is provided. Otherwise, what I can do is, here I will remove this. I will simply put document.write. Here I will put a message saying that please provide a name. Please provide a name. That means we are not displaying inside any element. We are just printing document.write. I will say document.write, you cancelled. Now see what will happen. Only when the value is provided, I will print inside the page. That means you see now what happens. So when I click new folder without entering the name, click OK. What it will do is, it will print the output in a new screen. Remember, the page is same, page is not changed, the page is same, the output printed on a new screen. When I refresh here, you can see that when I refresh, this output is gone, then only the page will be displayed. That means whenever you want to display output in a new screen temporarily, because that is not permanent, whenever you reload the page, it is gone. Then you can use document.write. I click here cancel, then it will display cancel. I want to display on a new screen. That when I entered any name, so music something, and click OK, that it will be created, defined here. Actually, folder is not created. We are just trying the messages to understand how to provide input. Here we are using an input box. Through an input box, we are providing input and we are accessing the input. So document.write syntax is simple. We have to just use document.write and the message or expression, whatever you want to configure, define, you can write it. And in this input prompt example, we are using that. That means I will use that document.write so that it is easy for handling both one, right? That means when they entered the name without any value provided and clicked OK, then it will be verified with empty and it says please provide a name. And if the name is not provided, they cancelled, so then it will return null. We say cancel. If provided, we can print the name. Remember, initially this is working. This is only working for one situation here. So I click here, create a new folder. So movies, and I click OK. I click new folder. I said music. I click OK. Then it will replace that movies. So because we haven't written any logic for continuously adding one after another, for that we need to add. Simple. What you can do is you can simply put here plus equal, and at the end you put a br will concatenate a line break. That means what it is doing, it is printing the name, folder created and the folder name. And if already any message is already printed inside it, it is concatenating to that message. That means without disturbing the existing message inside it, it is printing a new message, adding a new message, and it is in a new line. After printing, it will go into a new line break. Otherwise, side by side will come. This is just to make a different appearance. Like, see, I said movies, then says created by movies. I said music, and I say OK, and it says folder created by music. I say folder, then I define as suppose softwares like this, and click OK. It will keep on adding those and display. That is nothing but just we are concatenating to the existing. We are just adding plus equal. These type of logics and all we will learn later, because as of now, as a learner of programming, you even haven't learned about how to use a if condition. So you don't need to concentrate. I don't know even how to write if condition. That is later concept. You need to just understand the point, what is prompt. You don't need to worry that I am very confused in this if condition. So if you are confused, then forget about it. You will learn when the situation about conditions we will learn. As of now, my intention is to explain you only what is the purpose of prompt and how it takes the value, how to implement it with proper examples. We will see later. If you understood this point, that's enough. That is the concept. Right? So what are the input methods we are having? One input technique is by using prompt. Another input is by using HTML input elements, that we will see tomorrow, how to use input elements and work with them. Okay, up to now you can practice, and if any problems are there in tomorrow's session, let me know about that so that we can discuss about them and understand about that. Right? So tomorrow we will continue with how to handle input from form elements. Okay, thank you.